All right, so things you'll need. I have a gallon of Elmer's glue. I just put it in a paper plate. All right. I got my brown paint. I think you can see everything. Make sure you can see everything. Yep, got my brown paint there to the left. I have all the scenery stuff that I need, and I have my paintbrush. I got spoons. I got my blended turf. I have my underbrush. I have my coarse turf. We're not going to use any underbrush. I'll stick that up there. And I have this mixture. It's not Temptations, but I have this nice little container. Okay, so let's talk about my wife. So my wife supports my hobby by giving me every single little container, every single spool. She's always asking me, can you use this for your model trains? And, we spoil the hell out of our cats. We got 8 of them. They get treats every single morning. It is ridiculous how spoiled they are. So she gave me this little bucket, and it's got a lid, and I poured all my green, like turf and like the fine, like I guess it's like a fine green turf, and I got like 2 or 3 different colors here. So I put it all in here, and I just shook it all up, and I blended it all together, and this thing is awesome. I can't really tell my wife how awesome it is because then she's going to give them all to me, So I just got to kind of keep her in check a little bit because she knows she's awesome, and otherwise, if I tell her too much, it's going to go to her head. So remember that, guys. You can give your wife compliments, but don't go overboard because then she's going to expect it all the time. But come back for more marital advice next week. I am on wife number 3, so you may not want to pay any attention to me at all. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna paint this section here. Now I did not stir this up. All I did was shake it up because why? Because it's not a wall in my house, and it is just going on here and it's getting covered up anyway. So it doesn't matter if it's 100% shook up or anything like that. It's going to be just fine. Now this is this parchment paper or something like that with the slick side up, so the paint won't stick to it when it dries. Supposedly, it still does a little bit, but not too bad. All right. Now, technically, you could go through with your dirt right now and dump it on there, but I want to put it on there a little bit more securely. The last couple of times I did this with just the paint on there, it kind of fell off a lot, and I had a big trail of it like along this paint line, and I had to clean all that up, and there was a little bit of not really a pain in the butt, but I could have done it a little bit better, so that's what I did. Because a lot of when you put your dirt on there and it gets a little wet and it gets some glue in there, it clumps up a little bit. So I basically just made underbrush out of this stuff here. So when I put my trees and stuff on, I'll take all this residue and I'll just dump it in between the trees. I'll squirt it and glue it down, and all the trees will surround it. You won't even see it, but it gets used because I don't like to waste anything. Because when you waste, you got to spend money to replace. There you go. All right, so I'm just going to go over this again with some white glue. You could technically mix your paint and the glue together, I'm pretty sure. Make sure it's thick enough. All right. Now I have a bucket of water over here. I just take the brush, throw it in the bucket of water. I hardly ever even clean the brush. But one thing I am going to do is I'm going to put this trash can over here, so when I pour this little bit of dirt out on this corner, it won't go on the floor because I get tired of cleaning that stuff up. Now this is a pretty long video, so hope y'all are still watching. If not, you can just watch over time because it ain't going anywhere. And I hope my mic is working pretty good. Let me see. Here we go. So this is a little scooper I got. I take a lot of protein shakes and stuff like that. This is my protein shake scoop. So I save these, and they're pretty handy to have. So I'll start off with about a half a scoop, and I'll just start. Make sure you can see over there. Yeah, I'll just start over here. I just tap it. I tap it at the top because when it lands on the top, it will roll down the hill on its own, and then we'll go from there. Now there's 100 different ways to do this, I'm sure, but this is just the way I do it. And you can see it sticking pretty good. Now, if you're like me, you got to have a towel handy because you're going to get glue on you or dirt on you or paint on you nonstop. So I'm a hot mess sometimes. It is what it is. It could always be worse. I feel like a 10-year-old as much mess as I make all the time. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to cover every inch with, a 1/4 inch of dirt, because the brown blends in with the dirt that you throw on there. So if it's a little thin, it's just fine. Oh, I thought it was empty. Messed that one up. That'll be all right, though. Let's see. A piece of metal in there. I wonder what that is. Huh. That's weird. Always something odd going on in this place. All right, so this is my favorite spoon to use. You can use a house spoon, a teaspoon, a tablespoon, whatever you want, but this is a McDonald's McFlurry spoon. They don't use these anymore. I got about 3 or 4 of these, and they're great. I think they're deep enough, and they're perfect. I like the handle too, because I got a little arthritis in my hands, and the older we get, we kind of need a little bit something extra to hang on to. So I mean, you can take, if you have arthritis in your hands too, you can take like a regular spoon and just kind of wrap it with some tape or something like that, some athletic tape, some grip tape or anything. But it works out good for me, so I like this. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take some of this blended turf, and I believe this is actually Woodland Scenics blended turf. I think I just bought this not too long ago. But I had another one that I mixed up some Hobby Lobby blended turf in. It looked a little bit different, which I think is what the Temptations jug is full of. So we're just going to take this a little bit and just start sprinkling it on. Once again, work your way from the top, work your way down. The bottom portion of this is going to have a bunch of rock on it, like I've done on the other sides, to kind of be consistent with the rest of the scene. So it's not really that important you get a whole lot down here, but if you can, you can. If you can't, it's not a big deal. We can work with it. So I was talking to Brandon Scholl, I believe his name was. Saw him at Mike's Trains a couple weeks ago. He's a subscriber to the channel. Him and his wife like my videos. His wife loves when I put the dogs in the videos and all that stuff. And you might be wondering, where's the dogs at tonight? Well, Gatsby went in and got neutered yesterday, so he is in the I guess the hospitality room is what we're calling it. So my wife has a mattress in there, and she's been sleeping with him the last couple of nights to make sure he's not chewing on his, incision and all that stuff. And he doesn't have a cone of shame on him, but he's got it's like a big blow up donut. So he's not really too happy with it, but he's recovering nicely. Speaking of recovering nicely, he has gained a bunch of weight. He's looking pretty good. He's getting a little cocky though. So he snapped at me the other day because I told him no because he was chewing on a blanket. He didn't like that, and we had to have a little come to Jesus moment. And then he realized Dad's serious, and that was the end of that. So him and Bones are getting along real good, except when they decide they want the same toy. So a little bit of growing pains between the two rescues, not too bad. Elvis is doing good. Elvis went out with me for my birthday last week. Had a good time. He's always popular wherever we go. All right, so what we'll do here, or what we'll do now, is move this back just a little bit. And I'll clean all this up. There we go. I don't like to waste anything. And is it really wasted if you can use it again? No. It's not quite the same consistency. It's got paint in it and everything, but you can always sift it out if you want to get technical. Or you want to try to reuse it again in the same situation. But this is all going in the woods, and it'll be just fine. All right, not too shabby. You see I got a nice little mixture in there. That'll be, ground foam underneath trees and stuff like that. It'll be just fine. So you can easily get all these little chunks out of it by taking your grater or your strainer or whatever it's called. My wife's been looking for this for 3 months. It's great. I have no idea I have it. So you can put it in here and literally just use your fingers to rub it out and get all those chunks out of it. So no big deal at all. My wife's looking for a lot of stuff that's been missing lately, and it's all out here. My wife's birthday is tomorrow. I'm looking forward to celebrating her 40th again. And she is something else. All I can say is, after 14, 15 years of being together, sometimes it's a pain in the butt. But, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't know what to do without her. Because I'm a pain in the butt, too. So, I mean, guys, you just got to remember, you're a pain in the butt. When she's a pain in the butt, she's got to remember you're a pain in the butt, and vice versa. And just y'all get along and never go to bed angry. So I'm going to take my Woodland Scenic Cement, and I'm going to squirt this down. It doesn't matter if it runs and it kind of messes up your smooth finish because we're not done yet. But at the same time, water runs down. So if it runs down, you're going to be just fine. So I don't put it on too heavy. Now, Woodland Scenic Cement is supposed to have a wetting agent in there. I don't think it works as good on its own compared to squirting this with some wet water before. But for this application, it doesn't really matter that much. I might take this and make this a separate video. It's kind of long. How long is this one so far? Oh, it's 12 minutes. Ain't bad. I'll still probably post it separate. I'll post that part of this video as an update, and I'll post it something separate. And then that right there, if you guys want to refer back to it. So we'll hit this a little bit with some of this little bit of green. And this I'm putting on a little sparingly because if you look at photos of what railroads did in fills back in the 50s, I mean, they squirted like straight kerosene or something out. I don't know what it was, but everything was freaking dead. So you don't need a whole lot of vegetation if you're modeling a transition area, because back before the EPA, I guess. EPA came around in the 70s, early 70s. So prior to the EPA, there was probably all kinds of stuff being sprayed out there, herbicides and weed killers and all this other crap. And all you got to do is just do a little bit, because the fun part's going to be putting on your clumps of foam and building your, what's it called? Your, not only like trees or anything, but like brush, like a scrub brush on there and whatnot. And once again, I'm going to have rock along the bottom, so I don't need to worry about it being too far down. And this stuff actually goes a long way, so if you don't have a whole lot, you can probably still get quite a bit finished. Now, I'm not going to worry about this section on the end, because this is going to be a like a small like water runoff, so it'd be rock all the way stacked all the way up to the top here. I don't think that looks too bad. Don't look too shabby on camera either. All right, let's blast it with a little bit of where's my wet water? I want to use some wet water. Let's see if I have some. I should. There it is. All right, so let's talk about comments. So sometimes I get a lot of comments on my videos, sometimes I don't. It's not really a big deal. It's not like I get upset by it. Every now and then I got somebody who's either a smart aleck, or they just say something mean or facetious or something like that. And why am I bringing this up? Because I read a news story this week that there was a woman on the interwebs, and she rescued foxes or something like that. She had like some sort of an animal rescue, and evidently she committed suicide because of people's comments. I'm like, how can you be so mean to somebody doing something good for animals, you know? So, and I've addressed a couple of negative comments before on my channel, and I'm gonna tell you, if you say something really, really mean spirited, smart ass ish, if you would, don't be upset if I come back with something pretty harsh, because I probably will. And you know, I always say that I get tired of these keyboard warriors, because you know, if you wouldn't say something to somebody's face, then don't say it at all. You know, grandma always told me, you know, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I've lived by that. I love my grandmother, I miss her to death, but and I try to be a good man. I try to be good to people. I try to be respectful to people. I try to be, you know, show everybody dignity. You know, I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your sexual preference is. I don't care what your color of your skin is. I don't care where you came from. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. If you're happy and you're not hurting kids, I don't care if you live your life. I mean, you can be trans, you can be whatever. I don't care. It does not bother me, not one bit. But if you're hurting somebody, that's a different story. But if you got something to say and it's so harsh that somebody's going to commit suicide over, you got problems. And I don't say you as in the people watching this video. I just mean these people out there who have nothing better to do with their life but be miserable to somebody else because they're miserable themselves. And I can't tolerate that. So I've always tried to stick up for people who are being bullied. I don't particularly remember ever being bullied myself, and I sure hope that I was not a bully to anybody else, but I've never been big enough to be a bully. You know, I was in high school, I only weighed 130 pounds. I was a cross country and track runner. You know, it's not like I was some 200-pound football player. You know, that's kind of what you think about as a bully, and all. But I just cannot imagine or fathom how anybody could be so mean and say such mean things that somebody would go kill themselves over. Now, on the other hand, it's the internet, people. you're not gonna say something to me that's going to get me to the point where I want to go delete myself, and that is absolutely horrible. And I feel sorry for people that don't have the mental resiliency or the mental toughness to just turn the comments off or ignore them, you know. And there's been some people, you know, that left me some comments that I'm not gonna say they upset me, but it made me mad, because, you know, once again, you wouldn't say that stuff to my face, and most people would be respectful and all that. You know, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. You know, I'm only 5'9". I'm 190 pounds right now, about 17% body fat. I'm a personal trainer. I'm in pretty good shape. Spent 27 years in the Army. You know, I have people tell me that I'm a little bit intimidating. I don't get it, but some people say that to me. And all I know is I try to be good to people, and I want people to be good to each other. So, I mean, if you have something crappy to say to me, once again, don't be surprised if I come back with something pretty harsh. And if you're you know, somebody who's a bully or being bullied, more importantly, being bullied, let them know that, you know, it's just words. You know, sticks and stones. Everybody remember that? Sticks and stones. You know, if you're not throwing rocks at me or hitting me with a ball bat or something, you can say anything you want. It's not going to hurt me physically. I only got one feeling, you know, so if I'm not mad, I don't know what I am, because this PTSD whoops my butt every now and then. But just one of them things. So that's your lecture from Rob today. Be good to people. Be an American worthy of the sacrifices of our heroes that died for our country. So that's what it all comes down to. All right, so what do you think? What do you think? Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. I'll quit lecturing and I'll get off my little soapbox here. Probably nobody watching right now anyway. All right, not too shabby. Now, you probably think that looks like crap, Rob. You got to believe in the process. You got to let it dry. When it dries, it may look a little different, may look a little better. And let's see what we got here. Good job, gimbal. I don't think it looks too shabby. So I have to apply the green ground foam to the other two sections that I've already done, but I wanted to do this one start to finish with you and let you see how it looks. So next week, when you come back for the video, this piece will be glued in. The other three pieces will be glued in. They'll have some caulk in between them. It'll all be seamless. And hopefully the second 4-inch section of foam will be cut and glued on top. So I guess that's about it. It's probably about a 45-minute video. I don't expect anybody to watch the whole thing at one time, but if you did, thank you. And if you keep coming back and you've watched the whole video, 3 or 4 times or whatever, in 3 or 4 segments, I guess, hey, I appreciate you. Once again, thank you very much for watching the videos. If you see me out in public at Mike's Trains or any other sort of model train event, or even, it don't matter where you're at, just, if you see me, say hello, shake my hand. I'd love to talk to you. A lot of people that I meet, I swap phone numbers with them, and I occasionally send text messages and pictures of what I'm working on and stuff like that. I enjoy doing that and sharing my work outside of YouTube and all that stuff. And if you're ever in the Lexington, North Carolina area, I'll invite you to come over. So just shoot me an email. Let me know when you're coming down. I'll give you my number. Give me a call. If it's not blazing hot outside, this summer, and you can come on over and check out the layout. I like hearing people's comments and their input and all that stuff. So once again, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm almost at 2,300. And come back next week and watch what I talk, or listen to what I will talk about next. I kind of messed that up. Oh, go watch those Twilight of Steam videos. I think you'll like those.